there are reasons to be more positive about climate going forward. The world is transitioning into a historic new era, powered by clean, sustainable energy and a brighter future for the planet. One of the most exciting new companies leading the decarbonization movement is GeoSolar Technologies, a climate solutions company that has developed a breakthrough new system for powering homes with all clean natural energy and near zero greenhouse gas emissions. The GeoSolar Plus system is now available for new and existing homes. For additional information about GeoSolar Technologies or the GeoSolar Plus system, visit www.geosolarplus.com.
Welcome, all of you, to our Smart Green Neighborhood webinar presented by GeoSolar Technologies. I'm Peter Romanesco, your moderator. I am Director of Smart Green Neighborhoods for GST. I've been in the energy savings business a majority of my whole career, and I've worked for large companies and large projects to save energy for Johnson Controls, Siemens, General Electric. With our system, we are revolutionizing the market, the industry. We're selling a complete home makeover package to modernize, to go to zero energy. We have 150 years of experience in this industry, bringing it to you to modernize your home with Smart Green Neighborhood. We have a tremendous group. Some of these panelists will be here today, and you'll see them shortly with JP Barton. JP, welcome.
Thank you, Peter. I appreciate the introduction. My name is John Barton. I am a New York Stock Exchange trained investment banker. Over the last 20 years of my life, I've been involved primarily in raising venture capital and advising companies involved in the clean energy technology sector. I am very excited about what this company is offering and the solution it has. And what I'm going to do is go through very quickly in about 6 or 8 slides and show you exactly what the problem is, what the solution that GST has developed is, and what that means to you as a homeowner, and why you should seriously consider installing one of these systems in your home. The problem is serious, and it's very immediate, and that is that the homes, people know that cars create a lot of carbon. What they don't know is that homes are even more create a significantly more amount of carbon and GHG into the atmosphere. In addition to that, homes also create a very toxic living environment for the people living in there. A typical home, and not just in ANCALA, but a typical home in the country is depicted in this slide, and it creates about 8 tons or 16,000 pounds of carbon dioxide per year. The carbon footprint is significant, and it really needs to be dealt with. The solution that GeoSolar scientists have come up with, they've been working on, the company's about 3 years old, but the research goes back over a decade. And they have created what they call the SmartGreen Home. It is a system that's built into an existing home that creates a clean energy home makeover that puts solar on the roof, geothermal in the ground, wells in the ground where it's appropriate, and then heat pumps. And the modern day heat pumps of today, and when you put those 3 components together, the combination that you get is that the home becomes extremely energy efficient and cleaner, healthier, and more valuable. The thing that's driving the home electrification boom, and it is a boom, only 3% of the homes have solar in the country right now. Only about half of 1% are all electric, and everyone is going to be moving to the all electric home. That's generally recognized to be the case by people involved in the industry. It is being driven by a widespread concern about climate crisis, which is intensifying. We don't need to talk about that. Everyone's aware of it. They know we have to fix it, and now's the time. The clean energy technology has improved, and the costs have decreased dramatically. 20 years ago, solar cost about 10 times more than it does per panel today. And they're more efficient today. The heat pumps are extremely efficient, and the other technologies that have been added and continue to improve and make the electric home the thing of the future. There's also increased concern by homeowners about power outages and their family health. And then the fourth thing, which is really a big deal, is the IRA bill that was signed last August. It's going into effect into early 23. It's going to be a very big deal for the next, as long as these incentives are still around, and they are very meaningful. They pay about 35 or 40% of the total cost. The result is that for the first time, with the deductions and with the efficiencies, it is now a clean, sustainable energy home with an electric vehicle is now cheaper and more efficient to operate than fossil fuel. That has never been the case until now, and that is being recognized by a growing number of people every day. The Smart Green Home is based on three basic principles. They come in with a team of technicians, and they analyze the home, completely analyze it. They come in with a team. The system takes about 2 weeks. The owners stay in the home. The crews come in and they decarbonize the home, taking out the carbon gas lines and the other things. They put in electrification for everything. The gas furnace goes out, the air conditioner goes out. Most of them are 20, 25 years old anyway. They're obsolete, they're pollutive, and they're unnecessary. And the third part is the P part, which is really important to people these days with COVID and with smoke and with all these illnesses going around. That is a purification. So by having the company technicians perform all three at the same time, the home is completely modernized and ready for many decades of clean, healthy living. It just simply is the right thing for someone to do. The question that we get sometimes is what makes GeoSolar Technologies or the Smart Green Home so much better than just solar? And the answer is that, first of all, we endorse and recommend solar panels on the roof, and that is a very major part of the system. But where most solar companies, rooftop solar, where they end there, perhaps with putting in an electric battery storage, maybe with electric vehicle charging, but often not. That's where GST really starts. The Smart Green Home system then goes in, and they have what we call the big three of putting in solar panels coupled with heat pumps, coupled with ground loops and geothermal. Tighten the building envelope, put in the electric vehicle car charging stations, install backup battery storage, air filtration management, and then a very sophisticated artificial intelligence software program that manages and monitors the entire home. This is the way that we're going to live in the future, and the future is now. It works seamlessly. The technicians come in Arizona. The installations are going to be done by Harman Electric and Solar, one of the largest solar installation electrical companies in the state. They've been in business since 1975. They will come in with their crew. They will do the installation. They will do the warranty. They will provide the financing, and they will be the contact point for the ANCALA or any other homeowners in the state of Arizona. They will have an exclusive contract with GST for the entire state. They come in and it's a seven-step system done in about 2 weeks. When they move out, the homeowners that have done this report that they report immediate improvement in the way they feel, and also the way that the home functions, and of course all the money that's saved. I want to close by talking about the HERS index. It's something that's relatively new but becoming very important in energy. It stands for Home Energy Rating System, HERS, and it is an overall energy efficient rating of a home. A typical home that has not had any work done to it, that was built 20 or 25 years ago, like the homes in ANCALA and most of them in Arizona, they carry a rating of up to over 100, sometimes 120, even 130. If you put solar on the roof and do some tightening, do some additional improvements to the home, typically it will come back down to maybe as low as 60 or 70, which is an improvement. But when you look over to the right on this chart, it really is very revealing. The Smart Green Home, in the test homes where this has been tested over the last several years, they're able to achieve HERS readings in the less than 10. And sometimes they get it to 0. It's a very big factor. It improves the value of the home, improves the health of the people that live in it. And it's just a better way, and it improves and decreases the amount of carbon in the atmosphere. The health benefits of the system are dramatic. It's highly effective against valley fever, and explain that. It also it controls is very effective against COVID-19 and other viruses, and it reduces the triggers that cause asthma, colds, allergies, and flu. And in summary, there really are several reasons that SmartGreen Home system makes sense to put in your home. First of all, it's time for everybody to own and control their own personal clean energy system. The utilities, the oil companies, the gas companies, they've had their way for over 100 years. We needed it at that time. We didn't have alternatives. We now have alternatives. You also have a higher appraised and resale value. You also breathe cleaner and healthier air, as we talked about earlier. You hedge yourself against future energy price increases, and we're all aware of that. It gives you a very robust emergency backup battery system in the event of power blackouts, which we're experiencing with greater frequency all the time. And it gives you a cleaner, healthier, and efficient indoor induction cooking system, which is though everybody has been indoctrinated that cooking with gas is really the right way to do it. But a number of gourmet chefs and a number of health experts have moved over and are all moving to these new electric induction cooking, and it is a big improvement, and the people that use it will vouch for that. It also charges your electric vehicle not with power that you buy from a utility company, but power produced on your roof, back to energy independence. And the last thing is that we hear that maybe living with sustainable energy and in an efficient home is less luxurious. Maybe you have a compromise in your lifestyle. It's exactly the opposite. That we call it eco-luxurious living. You're breathing cleaner air. It's quieter. It's safer. It's just a better living atmosphere. So that's the overall view from my position of why everyone should immediately consider putting a SmartGreen Home system in their home. I'll turn it back over to Peter, and he can have the real experts come in and tell you all the details. Thank you for your time.
I'd like to introduce as a panelist, Brent Mosbarger. He is a professional engineer, director of commercial operations for us, and Brent's a co-founder. He has a long history with large companies doing energy retrofit projects with some of the top companies in the world. Brent.
There's a few things I want to speak to. One is that really quickly on the energy transition, it's going to affect everybody in the United States. As we move away from fossil fuel-based electricity production, that will have to be replaced with something. And right now, renewable energy and storage are slated for that. I like the little graphic, how it shows how we built our energy system for decades, where we could easily have large centralized power plants, coal, natural gas, all types of those type of larger plants located in remote areas where we transmit that power generated through transmission lines into the cities, into our homes through distribution lines. And the change that is going to happen is we're going to retire a lot of these large plants. Arizona, they actually have some of the best solar resources in the world. The heat pumps that we have on the market right now are very suitable for the Arizona climate. And it's just a perfect combination with PV systems. All of our homes and businesses are going to be transformed, and basically they're going to be converted to a completely an electrical load. Is that most of the times when you get a PV salesman knocking at your door, it's highly unlikely that they understand the interaction of the mechanical heating and cooling systems in the building. And that's really where we come in. We have a great background in MEP systems, and we have modeling tools that we can take a gas-fired furnace and convert it to a heat pump. And then we understand really what that annual electrical load looks like. And without those tools, you really, you really are guessing, and GST takes the guesswork out of it, and it prepares your home for, the next 25 years. Our process is basically a 3-step process. Our first step is a no-cost virtual energy assessment, where we take 2 years of your energy bills and do some benchmarking, then moving on to an actual home energy assessment. That's a more comprehensive site visit. We do blower door tests, thermal imaging, document all electrical and mechanical systems in the home, and enter all that information into a home modeling tool, which then allows us to maybe replace a 100,000 BTU gas-fired furnace with a 4-ton heat pump. That modeling tool is very critical in helping us understand what happens if we switch a heater out, or a water heater per se, maybe with a heat pump water heater, which are becoming more and more popular. A lot of the homes are 25 to 20 years old. I mean, when they built houses that many years ago, they didn't care if the house leaked. We also offer a great indoor air quality component and system, which can address valley fever, COVID, and some of the other flu type issues that you'll see in your home. With our systems, and for this particular house, we were able to fit it into a 7-year payback. The benefit here is in year 8 through 25, and that is essentially money savings to you in the form of avoided cost. So anyway, Peter, I'm going to hand the show back to you.
Hey, thanks so much, Brent. Our next panelist is just the smartest man. I want to spend some time with him, but he has a PhD. He's a professional engineer also. As a guest panelist, Ty, welcome to the panel.
Thank you very much, Peter. It's great to be with everyone here. And I'm coming to everybody from Champaign-Urbana, Illinois. My career as a faculty member in mechanical engineering, and now over the past 12, 15 years at our company, Build Equinox, and a couple of other young engineers, and basically bringing to reality the work that I've been conducting for about 50 years now. How to live sustainably, how to live healthy, how to live comfortably, and in an economical manner. What I'm going to talk about is what's often forgotten, although COVID for sure and wildfire smoke has brought this to the forefront of a lot of people's thinking, and that's indoor air quality. It's great that a house saves energy, but if it's making you unhealthy at the same time, that's not a good deal. Your health is worth a lot more than energy. It's the same with a refrigerator. The purpose of a refrigerator isn't to save energy. It's to preserve our food, to keep it nutritious, and to keep it from making us sick. And so as we think about these things, let's not discount our value in a home. And that is really what distinguishes GeoSolar, is the putting indoor air quality, putting our health, comfort, and well-being at the forefront of the technology. We designed this unit we call the Serve, and now our second generation Serve 2. The Serve came out on the market around 2010. Around 2018, we brought our second generation product out. And we call it a smart ventilation system. It's made in the US, and basically what it does is it senses the quality of your air, carbon dioxide, volatile organic compounds, the various chemicals that we emit and that are emitted by our activities, cooking, cleaning, various off-gassing from furnishings that are in our home, along with particulates of various sorts. And when the Serve detects that these are above a threshold that you set, that you choose relative to your respiratory sensitivities, relative to what you find makes you feel well, that the Serve brings in fresh air until it brings it back to that threshold level just like your thermostat maintains your temperature. The serve also, though, has other functions. It's recirculating air. And recirculating air through a good MERV 13 or better filter removes particulates, from inorganic particulates to microbial and biological type contagions, and reduces that loading, that burden, and potential contagion from our home environments. It's online. For those of you who want to take advantage of it being online, this gives you the convenience of controlling the serve from your phone, downloading your data anytime you want to take a look at it, as well as helping you to manage the comfort and the air quality in your home. You know, we spend the bulk of our time indoors, 2/3 of it in our home, and it's a polluted environment. Today's indoor air quality, as COVID has brought to the forefront, it's not a good environment. Someone's sick in our homes, it's quite likely we're going to get sick. And as I'm sure a number of you have been frustrated trying to figure out, well, what do I need to do? The technology behind what we do is not based on hand waving, not based on vagueness, but instead is built on the research that we conduct, research that we study, conducted by others, and we bring that to your home. And what we do is we look at all those things that could make us feel good and make us feel bad. And it's a mess. It's a very complex system. Instead, have them automatically managed within your indoor environment. And so, for example, biological contaminants, the contagions that come out of our lungs, in the case of valley fever in the Southwest, the dust, the fungal spores that periodically are prevalent in your outside atmosphere, that filtering these using ultraviolet germicidal irradiation to kill the biological contaminants, to remove the inorganic, maybe the somewhat inert but still foreign bodies that when they're ingested into us make us sick, along with the various levels of gaseous pollutants, from the carbon dioxide that we exhale from our respiration to all of the various chemicals coming out of us as well as from our surrounding environment. Outside air is not always fresh, as you're well aware. In your area, this dust storm, which can periodically lift up the spores from valley fever, but the smog from the interaction of chemicals that we produce that then photochemically react to produce particulates. Wildfire smoke, anybody from the Front Range to the West Coast, when they contact us, it's often at the top of their list. And then what we do to impact our own environment. All of these need to be filtered out, which is something that the SERV 2 manages very, very well. When we look at the impact on human health, and especially over the last 10 years, there's more and more data that's indicating how our mental as well as our physical beings are impacted by these pollutants. And it's quite interrelated. According to Caleb Finch, professor of old age, studying old age, and he's a very healthy 80-year-old. But according to him, 3/4 of our illness, of our debilitating diseases, that these are 75% environmentally caused. And so there is relevance among these different, what seem to be quite different afflictions in our health and well-being. Now, I mentioned that we're quantitative based. So instead of hand waving saying you need so many air changes per hour, what makes sense to us and what our research tells us is true is that we need to manage those pollutants that we produce, like carbon dioxide, particulates, which we are a source of particulates coming off of us, volatile organic compounds, which We also exhale and exude those from ourselves as well as our activities. And the number of particulates. Think of small viral contagions. They don't add up to much as a mass, but there's hundreds of thousands per liter floating around within a typical indoor environment. And when we manage these all properly through the right amount of fresh air to dilute our respiratory gases, gases from cooking, air filtration, so as we recirculate to remove particulate levels to a level that's healthy, and then purification, ultraviolet germicidal irradiation to kill any remaining microbes, as well as to help to break down pollutants, that chemicals that are in the environment. And the compounding synergistic nature of it is that we can create healthy atmospheres within our homes and everywhere we go. And with that, I'll turn it back to Peter. And thank you again for your participation.
Our next guest, our panelist, is another person who has a PhD. Well, Dar Lon Chang, Director of New Product Development for GeoSolar Technologies. Hey, Dar Lon. He received his PhD from University of Illinois, a 16-year career at ExxonMobil. And then he put his life in line with his beliefs. And now he lives in a net zero home. He has the experience. He's living in a net zero home, so quiet, so clean, healthy. And Dar Lon, please tell us your story.
Thanks, Peter. So I'm going to tell my story about my journey from working at the ExxonMobil upstream research company to living in one of the 28 SmartGreen pilot net zero homes, and then joining GeoSolar Technologies and becoming a leader in the transition to clean energy. My journey taught me how to leave fossil fuels before they leave me. And this is a journey that I'm working to help others undertake as they realize the dangers of being in an abusive relationship with fossil fuels. I was recruited by ExxonMobil on the pitch that natural gas or fossil gas was bridge fuel to a clean energy future. I wasn't thinking, though, about how dirty fossil gas could be when I started working at the ExxonMobil upstream research company. I talked to my wife about making a personal and career transition away from fossil fuels. My wife and I were amazed by what could be done with existing technology to live in an all-electric net zero home, but we finally moved into one of the 28 SmartGreen pilot net zero homes in Colorado. I breathed the difference in my eco-luxurious home with no need for carbon monoxide detectors and just the right amount of heating, cooling, and purified healthy air ventilation to give my family superior comfort and quality of life while using 25% of the energy of a typical American home of similar size. Rooftop solar PV panels supply enough electricity to offset my home's energy use over the year. And after quitting a 16-year research career at ExxonMobil, seeing the dangers of depending on fossil fuels, I became a leader in clean energy transition. In addition to my work at GeoSolar Technologies, I'm serving on a Just Transition Roundtable to help Colorado oil and gas workers transition to a clean energy career. And my family's enjoying freedom from fossil gas bills, minimal electricity bills, and backup battery power during outages. I'm inspired by my neighbors who are adopting new green home technologies like the SPAN panel, a clean energy software system that's a model of green automation and integration. Could you please roll the SPAN video?
Meet SPAN, the smart electrical panel redesigned for clean energy homes. Because every day, more of us are choosing to power our lives with clean energy, transitioning our homes to power that's renewable and reliable. But the standard electrical panels found in today's homes are outdated. They weren't designed for solar, home batteries, or electric car charging. SPAN lets you see where your power is coming from and what's using energy, giving you the full picture of solar, battery, grid connection, and everything your home powers, with insights to make energy management easy, giving you flexibility and peace of mind. Future-proof your home with SPAN, your bridge to clean energy.
So with that, I'd like to introduce our Chief Executive Officer for GeoSolar Technologies. Now, Stone Douglas has guided many companies throughout his career. Stone understands why smart green neighborhoods might be the best overall investment for you.
Thanks, Peter. My name's Stone Douglas. I'm the CEO of GeoSolar Technologies. Thanks for being on the webinar. I am not a scientist, and therefore I don't have a PhD. So my story is a little bit different. About 11 or 12 years ago, I decided to decarbonize and electrify my home. It was pre-COVID, and I hadn't met Ty yet, so I wasn't really thinking about indoor air quality. I think a lot more about it now. It was 11 or 12 years ago, so climate change wasn't as big a deal as it is today. Probably was a big deal, but not many people thought about it. I did it, frankly, purely for financial reasons. I wanted to get rid of my utility bills. My home here is in La Jolla, California. Everything costs more in California, especially utilities. It goes up about 5 to 7% a year. And I wanted to get rid of that. It was really bugging me. So I did. And through the tax credits and everything else in California, I had about a 5.5-year payback, and I have no utility bills. Today, there are even more incentives for anyone who wants to do what I tried to do. Between the tax credits and the rebates, federally and locally, you would probably get back 32 to 35% of what the cost of a project would be. A tax credit, as you know, is a dollar for dollar credit on your tax return for taxes owed, and a rebate is just that. You get back cash. It's an extraordinary opportunity. It should give you, depending on the size of your home and the size of your utility bill, maybe a 7-year payback. Well, now, when I say utility bills are paid with after-tax dollars, if you think about it. If you don't have a utility bill, the utility cost avoidance is the effective tax-free dividend you get on your original investment in this system. It should be 7 to 10% based, depending once again on what you put in your system. It's really extraordinary, and it's something that actually earns you money, not just potentially saves your life. I paid cash for mine, but you don't have to. There are myriads of financial alternatives, and depending on how and why you borrow and at what rate, you could increase your rate of return, your internal rate of return on this investment, which is what I think it is. As Ty said, it's an investment in your life and your health, as well as your planet, but also an investment in your pocketbook. So those alternatives also exist. Appraisers today are very slow to increase values in homes for putting systems like this in, but today they're willing to give you about 20 times the per dollar annual savings in utility bills and increased value on an appraisal basis. So, you should take a look at this for financial reasons, but by the way, you live a healthier life and you help climate change. There are very few times that you can actually make money and do good at the same time, and this is one of those. This is an extraordinary opportunity, even for someone who's not a scientist like me. Peter, back to you.
JP, we're going to bring JP, Director of Business Development. JP?
If you're interested in moving ahead with the system, and Pete, maybe you can kind of talk through that real quickly, because that's what you and Brent and the engineers are really specialized in. But if you can just explain the what the next steps are to get the home analyzed and why you should do that next.
You bet. As Brent had mentioned, we'll do a free energy assessment, but the first thing is you need to grab the first 2 years of your energy bills from your provider, which for ANCALA people is Arizona Public Service and Southwest Gas. And then all you need to do is provide that data to us, and you can start with info@geosolarplus.com. Then we'll begin our virtual energy assessment. Brent will use some software and Google Earth, and we'll put a quick package together, show you what that looks like, and then we can talk about if you want to move forward, if it makes sense for you economically, how would you like to move forward, what options there are. But the next steps are, number one is get your energy bills for the last 2 years. That's the best thing we can do from there. JP?
Yeah, do you have some questions?
So it looks like there's a question, why is the IRA a great incentive to modernize community homes?
Well, maybe start with the IRA is the Inflation Reduction Act got approved and got it signed into law last August. a really remarkable, it's amazing legislation in that it really concentrates on decarbonization, electrification, not purification yet. They haven't quite gotten to that, but big incentives for exactly what we're talking about here, where you go in and put in solar on the roof, heat pumps, geothermal wells where it's appropriate, heating, health systems internally, tightening the home, and then putting in this advanced AI, artificial intelligence system, the SPAN system, which monitors and manages the whole thing. So it pays for about Stone. I think you said maybe 35% of the system is paid for by taxpayers, and they're very valuable incentives. What if I have solar on my roof? Pete, do you want to just talk about that? That's not a problem. You just build around it.
It's not. I know one thing Brent would do is take your existing data. You get a lot of data off your solar system, and then we'll figure out what it is you want, how much battery backup or how much more you need. Did you buy one electric car? Did you buy two? And if you still have some roof available, we'll scale up your system and add solar to what you have now. And the next question that came in, many of us are interested in payback. How does the payback happen if I pay cash versus finance the SmartGreen Home? Stone, since you're an economic person, how would that?
I got about 5.5 years after I paid for it, I'd made it all back in utility savings and tax credits. You can change your internal rate of return if you borrow the money, depending on the rate you borrow it at and the number of years. But I like to look at it just paying cash up front because it's easier to show you how you get your money back.
Sure.
And you get about 35% back on the first day or before the first day. Well, actually on the first day.
Yeah, Pete, I think a good way to look at it is just rule of thumb is that a typical home in ANCALA is valued around $2.5 million. If you plan on about 5 to 6% of the value of the home on an after-tax basis is the cost. Now it depends on what kind of batteries you want, how much solar you can go up or down with that, but about 5 to 6% of the value of a $2.2 million home. It's about what your net cost will be, or about 100 to 110,000, maybe a little higher, maybe lower. You will save the typical home in ANCALA right now is spending about 8 to 10,000 a year on electricity. And in addition to that, most all of the homes there, only 7% of the homes have electric vehicles. By having the electric vehicle charging station and your solar on the roof to produce the clean energy, you completely eliminate both the financial issues of paying $3,000, maybe $3,500 with gas like it is today, and standing in line pumping and all the things that go with that. So you save that $3,000, so around $12,000 to $15,000 in savings. You can do the math. I think in addition to that, the home is worth more. It's cleaner, it's easier to operate, and it's just simply a better lifestyle. And it increases the value of that home's investment going forward. And you'll have an energy system that is built for the future and not for the past. So on many levels, the ROI works, but every other thing works too, in addition to doing the right thing.
Folks, let's modernize your home. Let's save you some money.